Today is the day we go all out. This is the Grand Pork Showdown. We're cooking everything from one pig, almost from nose to tail. And I've got 7 awesome dishes lined up, each using a different part. We're gonna see just how much deliciousness we can squeeze out of one animal. Folks, are you ready to go on this porky adventure? Let's go! Alright, let's break down this epic pork journey. Starting with tenderloin, I'm going for a classic shashlik right on the mangal. That charred, smoky aroma is unbeatable. The ribs, I will be giving them a slow, smoky treatment in my Weber kettle. For the loin, I'm popping these bad boys into the air fryer to whip up some juicy steaks. Now, for the pork belly, I will first sear it in a pan to achieve the perfect golden crust and then turn it into a mouth-watering ramen. The pork shoulder is getting transformed into a killer burrito. And the pork butt, oh yeah, pulled pork burgers with coleslaw and a slick of honey mustard sauce. Last, but certainly not least, the pork knuckle. I will sear it for that crispy skin and then braise it in a beer in the oven, letting it soak up all those rich flavors. Buckle up, folks, it's about to get pork-tastic.
Alright folks, let's kick things off with some mouth-watering skewers. Now, these beauties are loved all over, from the sizzling kebabs of the Middle East, spicy sautés in Southeast Asia to grease juice souvlaki. But for some reason, they are not the star of the show in the US barbecue scene. Today we're about to change that. And what better way to do it than with some classic shashlik. This Russian and Central Asian staple is an absolute must-try for any meat lover. Tender chunks of marinated pork, grilled to perfection and served with a side of tangy sauce, it's a flavor explosion that will leave you wanting more. So, the pork. Aim for pieces roughly the size of a table tennis ball. Not too big, not too small, just right to lock in all those tasty juices and get the perfect bite. Now, let's talk marinade. Start with those onions. Squash them at the bowl's base to get all their juicy goodness out. Once that's done, throw in your pork chunks and season with some salt. This ensures our meat stays juicy and flavorful. Next, mix in kefir, peeled tomatoes in juice and pickled brine. Kefir does this cool thing where it tenderizes the meat. The pickled brine adds that drool-worthy tang. And let's not forget our body's pepper and coriander for that spicy kick. Now, here is the trick. See all that liquid? We need it in the pork, not around it. You could leave it in the fridge overnight, but if you are as impatient as I am, get in there and mix it with your hands. After that, a quick chill for a few hours in the fridge. Before grilling, wash off that marinade. It prevents the meat from getting too salty or bitter from burnt spices. Grilling is the fun part. Start slow over a few coals. Let them cook gently. Then crank up the heat, add more coals and get that crispy finish. When it's all done, slap those skewers on some flatbread to catch the juicy goodness. Add some tangy sauce like tkimali, which is a sour plum sauce that is commonly used in Georgian cuisine as a condiment for meat dishes. It is made from sour plums, garlic, herbs and spices. Also, throw on some pickles, fresh veggies, pickled onions and maybe some cherry tomatoes and you are in for a treat.
Alright folks, straight from the brazier, here is the verdict on our shashlik. The kefir and pickled brine did their magic. Super tender and tangy, and those crushed onions added just right sweetness. The two-step grilling gave a juicy inside and a caramelized outside. My only tweak, a touch more pepper next round. Paired with the flatbread and kimali, it's a barbecue bliss. For me, it's an 8 out of 10. But remember, flavors are personal. Make it your own when you give it a shot.
Alright team, let's dive deep into the world of smoked ribs. Why this recipe? Because it beautifully marries tradition with a few modern tricks that will elevate your rib game. Step 1. Grab those ribs. Always remove that pesky membrane. It stands between you and rib perfection. A simple sprinkle of salt and pepper is all these bad boys need. Traditional, effective. Now into the grill they go. Smoking at a gentle 225F for about 3 hours. Cherry wood is our choice here, giving a sweet, fruity smoke profile. As they bask in that cherry goodness, take a moment to craft a foil cup. In it, drop 4 tablespoons of pork lard. Trust me, this smoked lard will be gold later, but be careful. Put it out after an hour to prevent it from evaporating. Got that mahogany color on the ribs? Awesome. Now arm yourself with a spray, half water, half apple cider vinegar. Spritz those ribs every 20 minutes to keep them moist for about an hour. Next, we crank up the heat. Add more coals to boost the temp to 275F. This higher heat ensures the gorgeous pullback, revealing the bone and sealing in juices. An hour later, it's wrapping time. Opt for butcher paper, meat side down, and remember that smoked lard, drizzle it over. The richness amplifies the flavors and ensures tenderness. Back they go for 30 minutes, targeting an internal temp between 200 207F, check with instant thermometer. Last, remove the butcher paper, brush them with your favorite glaze, that berry jam glaze perhaps, another 15-20 minutes to lock in the shine and flavor. Once out, rest them for a bit, about 10 minutes. Patience, my friend. Then, all that's left is to dive into rib nirvana. Oh, and if you are diving deep into ribs, I've got a whole video on that. Want more? Look for the hint popping up now. Links also below in the description.
Diving into these smoked ribs now. Using the upgraded 3-to-1 method has truly made a difference. They're not mushy, not full of the bone, but they give a clean bite, which I absolutely adore. The wrapping face with pork lard, this is genius. It's kept the moisture while infusing more flavor. Now, the finishing touch, that berry jam glaze, it's like a sweet surprise, balancing the rich smokiness. A couple of bones felt a tad overcooked, but that's minor gripe. Taking everything in, I'd give these ribs a solid 9 out of 10. Can't wait for you all to try this.
Alright team, hang on to your aprons because we switch gears. From the smoky aromas of the grill we are diving deep into air fryer territory. Now, if you are wondering how to take that impressive whole bone-in loin sitting in your fridge and transform it into a quick scrumptious meal, you've come to the right place. Let's introduce you to the magic of the air fryer. The concept here is simple but genius. Take your pork loin, carve out some beautiful chops and then embrace the air fryer's rapid circulation magic. The result: insanely crispy exteriors with tender, juicy centers. First things first, that big bone-in loin. This gives you the freedom to cut the thickness just the way you like it. Thicker for a meatier bite or slimmer if you like it crisp all the way through. A little pro tip, go for about an inch in thickness. Once you've got your chops ready, give them a pat down with paper towels. You might wonder why. Well, removing excess moisture ensures that the chops fry up real nice and golden. Too much moisture and they will steam instead of fry. Next, the seasoning. Combine that finely grated parmesan with garlic powder, onion powder, smoked paprika and a generous pinch of salt and pepper. This mix is where the magic really happens. The parmesan is going to melt and crisp up, creating this beautiful crust that is going to make you wonder why you didn't try this sooner. First things first, give those chops a good coating with olive oil. It acts as a binder and ensures our seasoning sticks perfectly, and also adds a bit of richness. Now, here is a little twist. I had seasoning mix meant for 4 chops, but as you can see there are 5 chops. Happens, right? So I decided to improvise and shred some parmesan over them for an extra kick. Press the seasoning and parmesan in, ensuring every inch is covered. Once they're seasoned up nicely, it's time for them to heat the air fryer. First preheat the air fryer, then lay pork chops out in a single layer. No overlaps please. We want even cooking all around. Set your fryer to 375F 15 minutes. Midway through give them a flip. They should be halfway to golden perfection. Another 7 minutes and they should be almost done. But here is where precision matters. Always check with a thermometer. You are aiming for an internal temp of 145F, the sweet spot for pork. It is both safe and ensures a juicy finish. Once done, give them a moment to rest on a cooling rack. It is a tiny detail that makes a big difference in taste. And while chops are resting, let's quickly make some stir-fry veggies for garnish. And voila, in less than 15 minutes you have turned an intimidating piece of meat into a gourmet dish.
Alright, quick pause here. Time to reflect a bit. I have cooked pork chops a handful of times in my life, probably around 100 or so, and every experience was its own lesson. But using the air fryer this way is like discovering a new flavor avenue. I would rate it 9.8 out of 10. Even if you have had a not so stellar relationship with pork chops in the past, or maybe just haven't given them a fair shot yet, this method could be the turning point. The balance of crispy exterior with a tender interior is just unmatched. Stay with me folks, we are not done just yet. Our next dish is waiting in the wings.
Alright team, it's ramen time. First, let's chat pork belly. That meaty fatty slice, it's going to be our star. We are aiming to infuse it with a bacon-like crunch combined with the deep aromatic notes of mustard and soy. Cut some slices with the skin on. Heat up your skillet over a medium flame. The key here is patience. Lay the pork belly strips, sizzling them slowly. As they curl and get that crispy edge, introduce the mustard soy mix. Coat each strip generously, ensuring that blend seeps into every crevice. When they hit that perfect caramelized hue, you know it's done. Lay them out and let's move to the eggs. They are more than just an ingredient, they're a skill. Boiling them to that perfect consistency where the whites are firm but the yolk dreamily runny. 6.5 minutes is your golden number. Post-boil, plunge them into cold water, makes the peeling process smooth and retains that gooey texture. Now, on to our noodles. A quick tip, don't overdo them. We need them slightly al dente because remember, they're diving into that piping hot broth soon. They will continue to soften up and we don't want a mushy mess. Cook them, rinse them and set them aside. In the same water where we boiled the ramen noodles, I'm gonna give the bok choy a quick blanch. Not only does it infuse some of that noodle flavor into our greens, but it also softens them up just a touch. Perfect for our ramen bowl. Your broth is the backbone of the dish. Whether it's beef, chicken or duck, the depth of flavor here is essential. I always try to keep some broth stashed in the freezer since I use it for so many dishes. Luckily I had one batch I cooked up last week, so we are in luck. No need to spend extra time making broth today. I also want to make the most of those flavorful scorches left behind by the bacon. A quick tip, just add some of that noodle water to the pan, giving it a good deglaze. This way we capture all those tasty bits and then I will pour this savory liquid right into our broth. And a tiny drizzle of sesame oil, it's like the magic potion, just a hint, and it elevates the entire aroma profile. When everything is ready, it's showtime. Deep bowl, noodles first. In goes the aromatic broth, steaming and inviting. Carefully laid out those mustard soy pork belly strips, ensuring they sit prominently. Slice the eggs in half, their runny yolk adding to the allure. Garnish with freshly chopped spring onions, maybe a leaf or two of bok choy, and you have got a bowl that is more than just food. It's a symphony. From pork chops to this glorious ramen, our food journey is shaping up quite nicely. But hang tight, we're not done yet. There is more magic coming up.
Alright folks, let's dive into some ramen reflections. So here is the fun fact. This is only my second go at making ramen. Yeah, you heard right. My maiden voyage just yesterday for a trial run, and man, I am just with the outcome. The crispy pork belly meeting that rich broth and those perfectly soft noodles, this is a killer combo. But let's get real for a sec. This is a beginner's take on ramen. There is a whole universe of ramen recipes and flavors waiting to be explored. Loads of ingredients and techniques to play with. If I had to rate today's dish, I'm throwing it a 9 out of 10 its way. Why not a perfect 10? Because I know there is so much more to learn and taste in ramen realm. Asian cuisine has always had a special place in my heart, and now, having taken my first step with ramen, it's like opening a door to a brand new culinary adventure. Now, let's move to the next dish.
From our recent culinary trip through the enticing flavors of Asia with ramen, we are now heading straight into the vibrant heart of Mexico. Our trusty pork shoulder is along for the journey, promising to give our burritos a hearty and flavorful touch. First up, our chosen cut, the pork shoulder. This isn't just any piece of meat, its marble texture guarantees juiciness and loads of flavor. By the way, while I was breaking down the shoulder, I managed to score another knuckle, which we will be using in one of the upcoming dishes. While it is tempting to get pre-ground pork from the store, grinding our own let us be in charge of the texture. It's a bit of extra work, but the end result is entirely worth it. Aim for a medium coarse grind. This ensures a good bite and maximum tenderness. Now, on to seasonings. You will need cumin, garlic powder, chili powder, salt and pepper. Here is a tip. Before adding in the pork, gently fry the cumin seeds in the skillet until they are aromatic. It takes about 1 to 2 minutes. This simple step unlocks the cumin's full flavor potential. After toasting, grind them up. I left my mortar and pestle in the barbecue area, but no worries. Here is a nifty hack to grind spices using just parchment paper and a cup. So, for the seasoning mix, combine the toasted and ground cumin with garlic powder, chili powder, salt and pepper in a bowl. This mix will evenly flavor the pork when combined, ensuring no bite is left unseasoned. Mix the spices into the pork. Don't overwork it, but ensure it is well seasoned. If you can, let it sit in the fridge for about 30 minutes. This allows the flavors to melt. Time for wedges. Tomatoes and onions need a consistent dice. For the tomatoes, remove the seeds to avoid any extra moisture in the burrito. This is where I can elevate the flavor, thanks to my homegrown tomatoes. Onions should be finely chopped, and for the lettuce, aim for thin strips, giving that light crunch in every bite. And don't forget to grate some cheese. I will be using cheddar in this recipe. Next, the pork. Ensure your skillet is really hot to get that perfect sear. Once the oil is shimmering, add the pork. Resist the urge to stir immediately. You want parts of the pork to develop a deep caramelized crust. Once achieved, break up the pork and keep stirring until cooked through. Assembling the burrito is straightforward. Take your tortilla, preferably warmed, place the pork in the center, fold followed by the vegetables and cheese. Now for the roll. Start by folding the sides in, then roll from the bottom, ensuring it's tight enough to hold everything in. Want a crispy finish? Give the burrito a quick sear on each side in a hot pan. There you have it. From ramen to burritos, our journey through global flavors using pork shoulder continues. The beauty of this dish lies in its simplicity and the robust flavors of its ingredients. It's comfort food with a delightful twist. Enjoy your meal.
Tucking into the burrito, the flavors erupted. The freshly ground pork was juicy and spiced to perfection, while the veggies gave a necessary crunch. But there is always room for growth, perhaps a tangier sauce. I'm giving this a hearty 8.7 out of 10, a solid score, but my culinary adventures have taught me there is always more to savor. Can't wait for the next dish.
Switching gears from the spicy kick of our Mexican burritos, we are stepping into the hearty world of classic American grub. And what's more American than a juicy pulled pork burger? That's right, folks, we are rolling up our sleeves and making a delicious pulled pork burger using the ever-trustworthy pork butt. The pork butt, despite its name, is all about the upper part of the shoulder. It's perfect for slow cooking, resulting in juicy, melt-in-the-mouth meat. Now, to really give this meat the flavor it deserves, we are going for a wrap that combines both brown and white sugars. This mix offers that caramelized sweetness. Then, to add some zing, there is paprika, ground ginger, onion and garlic powder. Throw in some kosher salt and pepper to spice things up. Mix them together and you have got a wrap that is all flavor and no fuss. Here is the game plan. Coat the pork butt with the wrap, making sure to cover every inch. Once it's coated, let it rest for 10 minutes to soak all that flavors. Then it is time for the oven. Set it at a low 250F, place the pork on a rack over a baking sheet and let it cook slow and low for about 8 hours. The end goal: meat so tender you can pull it apart with a fork, hitting an internal temperature of 200F. As soon as it reaches 200F, remove it from the oven and let it rest for at least an hour. Long cooking, long resting. As we near the finish line for the pork, let's get our burger components ready. And that means coleslaw, a simple mix of thinly sliced cabbage and grated carrots. For the dressing, mayonnaise, vinegar, a sprinkle of sugar, salt and pepper. This coleslaw isn't just for the crunch, its tangy flavor is the perfect partner for the rich pork. And let's immediately make the sauce. How about a tangy honey mustard, offering both sweetness and a little kick, blending seamlessly with the pork and coleslaw. After letting the pork rest, shred it into pieces that will fit perfectly on a burger. Let's talk burger assembly. A lightly toasted bun is the start. Then comes a generous helping of pulled pork. On top of the pork, a good dollop of our freshly made coleslaw and the sauce. So there we have it, a burger that is all about balance. The tender pork, the crunchy coleslaw and that sweet and spicy sauce, all held together by a bun. It's a trip through America on a plate where good old comfort food is king. Dive in and savor the magic of simple ingredients coming together.
So diving into that burger, I realized something. Yes, pulled pork takes time, but man, once you have it, you can whip up these burgers quick and they are a knockout. The tender pork combined with the coleslaw zing and the honey mustard sweetness hit all the right notes. This one gets a 9.9 out of 10 from me. But we are not stopping here. Strap in, because we are on to the next dish.
We are moving from the US to Germany for our next dish. Here is the deal. I'm thinking about cooking a whole leg, hoof and all, but then memories flash of this unforgettable pork knuckle from about 12 years ago in Germany. Picture this, I'm traveling between Berlin and Munich and stumble into this massive beer joint Hofbräuhaus. Man, the pork knuckle, it's out of this world. I have tackled it every time I visit, that's 5 times. Today's challenge, to recreate it in my kitchen. Instead of working with the whole leg, I am grabbing a saw and hacking out the knuckle. Unfortunately, I realized too late that the knuckle from the hind leg turns out to be just massive, and I have decided to save it for smoking. I had one knuckle I bought as a backup, and the other, if you remember, was produced from the shoulder in the previous recipe. First things first, I'm giving the knuckle a quick boil. Might sound off, but it is a neat trick to clean the meat and get the skin ready for all the flavors. So it dives into a pot of boiling water for a short 5 minutes. Fresh out, I'm scoring the skin to help our wrap and marinade get real cozy in there. Now for the magic, searing. This locks in all that meaty goodness. I'm choosing a deep pot, trust me, it's gonna sizzle and splash. Once it is red hot, in goes the knuckle, turning into this tempting golden hue. While the knuckle is chilling, it's onion and garlic time. They are getting all golden and aromatic in the same pot, setting the stage for what's next. Herbs up, I'm grabbing rosemary, sage and a load of black pepper, rubbing them into the knuckle like there is no tomorrow. Oh man, the kitchen smells heavenly. Now for the baking setup. I am laying the fried onions and garlic on a tray, placing the knuckle on top. Here is the kicker. I am pouring dark beer, Germany Sprite, around it, adding a bit of water. I am wrapping this beauty in foil and it is going into the oven. Slow cooking at 350 F for a good 3 to 3.5 hours. But wait, we need that crisp skin. After its oven stint, I am brushing the knuckle with a mix of mustard, paprika and olive oil. Another quick roast for 15 minutes and we are golden. On the side, I am whipping up mashed potatoes, buttery, cheesy and oh so creamy. I have also tried to make a reduction from the sauce left after braising so that we can pour it on mashed potatoes. And yes, a slight oversight on my part, the reduction didn't thicken as much as I'd hoped, so it's a tad runny. 15 minutes later, the knuckles should achieve this superb golden crust. To serve, start with a dollop of mashed potatoes, then place this giant knuckle right next to it. Just look at its majestic size. Oh my! Drizzle some of the reduced sauce over the potatoes and voila, there we have it, a plate that takes me straight back to Hofbräuhaus.
Alright folks, I got to tell you about this pork knuckle I just whipped up. First off, that skin. Oh man, it was perfectly crispy, like the crunch you dream of. And when I dug in, the meat was unbelievably tender. I mean, it practically melted in my mouth. The combo of aromas, especially from the spices and that hint of beer, absolute magic. Of course, not everything was 100% perfect. A few spots here and there could have used a touch more seasoning, perhaps. But if we are talking ratings, I confidently slapped an 8.5 out of 10 on this bad boy. Seriously, next time you're around, we are making it again. You've got to taste this. It's been a wild ride, folks, from skewers to Asian ramen and to that unforgettable pork knuckle, reminiscent of my German adventures. We have explored the pig from almost nose to tail, and cooking every part of it was a challenge, but the results mind-blowing. If you are hungry for more content like this, smash that like button, and if you are looking for another treat, check out this video right here. This is Yegor signing off. Stay hungry and see you soon. Peace.